The Catholic Agency for Overseas Development, Cafod, is the official overseas development and humanitarian relief agency of the Catholic Church in England and Wales and is registered as a charity organization in the UK. Cafod is a member of the Caritas Internationalis and operates in Zimbabwe under the auspices of the Zimbabwe Catholic Bishops' Conference. Cafod has been supporting development and relief work in Southern Africa for over 20 years, working primarily through partner organizations, enabling them to be proactive in poverty eradication and in strengthening civil society. The Livelihoods Program Zimbabwe, LPZ, was a 4-year program implemented by Cafod from 2004 to 2008 in 8 rural districts of Zimbabwe through a consortium of 5 implementing partners who are based in each district, both faith-based and secular. The program targeted geographic areas where livelihoods are compromised by chronic food insecurity, low levels of water and sanitation access, and high levels of poverty and heavily dependent on agro-based activities. The program focused in marginal districts of the country, and within these districts, the most marginal wards were selected. These are mainly in natural regions 4 and 5, which are dry and receive erratic rainfall. In addition, the program targeted households with heightened vulnerability due to factors such as HIV/AIDS and female-headed households. The 3 main components of Livelihoods program in Zimbabwe were agriculture and food security support, water and sanitation, and HIV and AIDS under HBC. The different components of the program showed that poor households did participate across a whole range of livelihoods programs, thereby addressing different needs of poor households at the same time. Cafod worked with Caritas Mutare in Nyanga and Mutare districts located in Manicaland province of Zimbabwe. In Masvingo province, Chibi district, Cafod worked with Zvishavane Water Project, ZWP. Caritas Bulawayo worked in Mangwe Bulilima and Matobo district. Caritas Wange worked in Binga district, which lies in the northwest part of Zimbabwe, while Seke Rural Home-Based Care operated in Manyame district, which is a peri-urban area of Chitungwiza, situated about 40 kilometers south of Harare, the capital city of Zimbabwe, along the middle Manyame sub-catchment area. The overall objective of the program was to reduce the proportion of people who suffer from hunger and extreme poverty through stabilization of food security and protecting the livelihoods of 37,000 vulnerable households in selected wards of the 8 targeted districts through improved capacity of 25,000 households to produce or acquire sufficient food by means of improved agricultural practices, improved and sustained access to safe water and sanitation by 5,000 vulnerable households, improved access to care and support for 6,000 HIV-affected households, strengthened capacity of partners to ensure all program components and activities are informed by and responding to HIV and gender, sustained and focused capacity building provided, enabling partners to implement the program effectively using a partnership approach. The process of selecting the right beneficiaries centered on community involvement, understanding and ownership of the program. As a livelihoods program, the LPZ was guided by participatory ethos and an integrated approach which sought to encourage community and stakeholder participation in the implementation process and enable targeted beneficiaries to draw complementary benefits from different but interrelated activities.
Nyaya conservation farming yakaitwa mushure mekunge zvaonekwa kuti gohwo raiwanika kuburikidza nekushayikwa kweruzivo rwanga rwakanyatsokwana panyaya dzekurima rakanga rakadzikira, uye kuti vamwe vaitadza kurima nekuti kare taingofunga kuti munhu anokwanisa kurima munhu anenge aine mombe kana kuti ane mari yekuhaya tractor orimisa minda yake okwanisa kudyara mbeu dzake. Asi conservation yazouya zvakazoonekwa zviri nyore chaizvo, zvakakwanisa kubatsira nyangwe vanenge vachitambudzika vakaomerwa neupenyu vanongokwanisa kungotochera makomba avo votodyara mbeu dzavo dzongokurawo vachitokohwa vakadyarawo vosakura vachingotedzera zvinenge zvitariswa kuti vange vachitapa conservation farming. Saka zvakabatsira chaizvo. Link yakavepo yakabatsira nekuda kwekuti varwere vari kurarama neutachiona HIV neAIDS vakakwanisa kubatsirwa vachiwaniswa mbeu nekuwaniswa ruzivo runove rwavari kungoshandisa nanhasi pakurarama kwavari kuita.
We also had an HIV and AIDS program where our major concentration was on home-based care. We were mainstreaming HIV and AIDS, unlike other districts or provinces where they had a specific component on HIV and AIDS. We're just mainstreaming HIV and AIDS in all the programs that we had.
Selection of vulnerable households within communities was in consultation with communities and local stakeholders. The targeted group comprised of vulnerable households who were income and asset poor, with clear guidance from the community's perception of vulnerability.
Chirongwa chezvishanu chakavya 2005 pachakavya chichisarudza vatamburi vose vakanga vari number 1 pakutamburisa kuva varombo vose. Saka murani medu ndakanga ndiri murombo wavarombo vose panyaya dzekutambura, ndazikamwa nenyaya dzamaricho, saka ndakaita mukana wokutanga kunyogwa muchirongwa.
Mazuva akauya Caritas yanga iri 2005 vakauya neprogramu yekuti vada kusarudza varombo sese vasina chavainacho kana mbudzi kana mombe pamusha. Asi masvikiro vakaita vakasvikira nekwasabhuku, sabhuku oridza dare rake wanobva wamhanya kuenda kwasabhuku, ndopatakasarudzwa.
In the LPZ targeted districts, the majority of the people's survival was heavily dependent on agro-based activities under the Agriculture and Food Security Support Program. Conservation farming was introduced where households were taught to prepare planting basins, apply anthill soil, and manure to the fields.
Iko zvino yamuri kuona compost takatanga kutora majanga usati takatanga tichadla shesha taitora tichisa mucompost imomu tikaisa tosazvileya zvemavhu zvishoma tofutsira futi tisazvileya zvamavhu zvishoma kusvika tasvika pasasi kuona kuti gomba redu razara awa mozoona ari pamusoro madota atiri kudira namamwe marara taitira kuti mombe dzisava dzinodla chinyi dzinodla majanga aone kuti majanga anenge asviba.
Taiita conservation farming tichipiwa mbeu, fertilizer, mbeu dzemagarden, chikafu taipiwa neCafod.
Selected households received small livestock such as goats, chickens, and rabbits. The pass-on concept was adopted where benefiting households were required to give the first offspring to another selected household.
We are giving 2 she-goats per household, and by that time the emphasis was that you get these 2 she-goats, when they multiply you give to the next beneficiary.
Saka ndakadzichengeta dzangu yekutanga iya indobva yabereka ndobva ndaitawo pass-on tofunga muna 2007 yekutanga. Yechitu yacho yange atoberekawo futi wandaitawo futi pass-on, andangononoka kuita pass-on wandaita pass-on, andakapa pass-on ndi Josephine Shoriyo ndio andakaita pass-on. Saka kubva pa 2007 dzangu dzanga dzakungobereka maberekero dzangu dzakuita 2 kusvika 2008 ndanga ndane 11 dzanga dzamo mudanga.
Abantu beKadeki banginika imbuzi A1 bathi nizabambelana lomunye yazala ngambambela. Ngiyabonga kakhulu kuKadeki ngoba yangisuse bunzimeni. Ngangalanto engingayenza ngangiphila ngokulima ingadi kodwa ayi kungakungangenzi lutho. Ngiyabonga kakhulu abantu beKadeki ngoba bamvuse bunzimeni bathi ngizisebenzele ngezandla zami.
The small livestock component aimed to improve households' access to animal protein through consumption of meat and other animal products like milk and eggs. In times of distress, households who received small livestock could readily sell to raise the required income.
These agroecological regions actually favors livestock. Like you have seen in Ward 4 that there is Elisha. Elisha is also a beneficiary to the small livestock. Initially was given 2, but right now you can see that this farmer have got now up to 12. And a lot of other things have happened with the sale and the eating of this small livestock. So here you find that we are enhancing the dignity of an individual through the ownership of livestock. You will find that our African culture, the wealth of a person is dependent on livestock. So the person, you will find that the person have actually gone to the buying of large stock like cattle.
Kurapera irori ndakazoti ndiri kuti ndabvisa dzimwe mbudzi ndine kamwe kamari kandandinako. Kamari kaka ndabaridza nembudzi 3 dzandakabvisa ndatengesa. Iva ndatenga futi kamwe kamhuru kamombe kandinako. Danga racho ndirori. Saka Caritas yakandibatsira mune zvakanyanya.
2005 takabva tapiwa tsuro 2 hadzine mukono wacho. Tapiwa tsuro 2 tikata dzinobva dzaberekana takasvika pakita kuma 60. Ndichibva ndatanga kutenga huku dzangu dzikabva dzaita 20. Mu20 muya ndikatanga kutenga mazai ehanga. Mazai ehanga dzakasvika pakita kuma 50 chakade kuma 52. Dzaita 52 ndichibva ndatanga kutengesa hanga dzangu netsuro nehuku. Saka ndatengesa kudero ndakatenga window frame akuvaka imba yangu, ndikatenga mbhedha wangu, ndikatenga TV. Zvose zvakabva baba vazvo vose ndikati zvakabva pashuru.
We have also seen some changes in as far as the livestock is concerned, because what happened under small livestock, we went into a joint venture with the Kadek Bulawai in the Matobo district. The breeds there for the goats are quite big. They are bigger than the Pinga breeds. The Pinga breeds are relatively small in size, and because of that, at times, even if you are negotiating for a good price, you don't usually get a good price. So what we did, Kadek Bulawai assisted us to buy some he goats in Matobo district. Then we gave some households that had goats, so that at least through that breeding, I think the thinking was the breeds would then change. At least bigger and better breeds were going to be realized, and this actually happened.
In Binga district, the program supported fishing camps where fishermen were supplied with nets.
There is a project that we promoted in the Simaterele ward in a fishing camp called Malala. One of the challenges that these people had was that as people who are, some of them are youths, some of them are married people, employment was not easy to come by. So they then approached their local leadership to find out whether they would be assisted with some nets and also some boats so that they would go and fish. The local leadership then approached Kadek. So what we did, we then combined the efforts with the Sapphire. Sapphire was a technical advisor to Kadek in as far as the income generating projects are concerned. Then we also brought on board the Department of National Parks and Campfire. These people trained the Campfire and National Parks trained them on the rules and regulations that pertain to fishing, like the use of the sizes of the nets that are needed. So they were trained even on the use of the life jackets, so that in case of an accident.
twakasangana mwaka wa 2007 kuzowawo twakazoswana na kansela kamba kuti kuli ugwasi luyanda kupa kuli cooperative tibayanda ogwasizya abantu bekhadiki so twakazolangisira jano tane twalipeda kuti tubereka nto mwambapo so vakatugwasirizya ima trainings kuzwa mu 2007 twakaiya kuli besafaya vakatuyisya ata business management twakazowawo twakakala mbichani katuli kuti akatuberekera zima kanu ya twato but still tense lwaye kujana kukona kuli kabotipe muchindi kujira mfulamfu chakazotopera wazotukamanya ndi ali 18 nto ajana manya ndali 18 but kuzwa mpawo mubusiyo nto afu kutera twakali kujana jana tuskwito banga tuli better.
HIV and AIDS information and education was also done in fishing camps to encourage responsible behavior, as men would normally leave their homes for extended days on fishing trips. Water and sanitation programs have improved community access to safe and reliable water for irrigation and domestic use. The program also improved sanitation through the provision of latrines and participatory health and hygiene education. The focus was to empower communities to take charge of environmental health issues in their areas through strengthening of health and hygiene clubs. These clubs were used as a platform for the promotion of good practices in the use and conservation of water for domestic and other purposes, water harvesting, and mobilization for toilet construction and maintenance.
We've been promoting health clubs since 2005. So mostly when we promote the health clubs, people come into work in groups to come together to learn about how to keep their families healthy, their communities healthy, and their households healthy. The main components of the health club is each household should have a latrine, access to a good water source within walking distance of less than 500 meters. They should have a pot rack. They should have a clean yard, and they should have a rubbish pit. In fact, if they can have two, the better, where they dispose both the biodegradable and the non-degradable items. They should also have small livestock component and a small garden where they will also improve the health of their family.
Isu tichiona vezvishavani vachiuya vakatibatsira kubva muzveutano tichiita zvamahealth club, kuita zvitata, kutsisa ndiro kuti dzirege kugara pasi dzichinhanzviwa nembwa chero nekiti tinoisa pazvitata. Kana tasuka tichidzirongedza mumba zvakanaka, tikabatsirwawozve nemvura yekunwa matsime akadzivirirwa. Tange tichingochera pose pose, zvirwere zvana korera zvaingouya zvichitibata tisati taziva. Asi zvishawani zvayakauya takapuhwa matsime akadzivirirwa, iko zvino tava neutano hwakanaka, tichava nezvirwere zvakawanda.
Kana mai uya tichandise maoko,
kana mai uya tichandise maoko, kana mai uya tichandise maoko, uya timachandise.
Kufamba namareni kwakafanira dhongi,
kufamba namareni kwakafanira dhongi, kufamba namareni kwakafanira dhongi, uya timachandise.
Kugara mumadziro kwakafanira nzvinyu,
kugara mumadziro kwakafanira nzvinyu, kugara mumadziro kwakafanira nzvinyu, uya timachandise.
provision of low-cost technologies such as elephant pumps, sand abstraction technologies was integral on the program.
We also had the elephant pumps in the LPZ program, where communities were actually digging deep wells, then we're installing some elephant pumps. And this region, if you look at Matabele in the south as a region, we have a serious problem of water, but the sand abstraction is now tapping water from the rivers, especially from the sand. The rivers that we have here have a lot of sand, and we're tapping water from the sand to water livestock, as well as to the irrigation for the communities.
Sand abstraction is it's one technology that it was actually started by Davani Trust. We were trained by Davani Trust. It's a project suitable for this area, whereby water is it's very scarce. And you know, communities have got challenges of watering their garden. We identify a point where the water table is at its maximum, and this level, this was marked by the community. It was actually found here. It's less than 3 meters. Water is always here. The water table is at its highest at this point. Even during the dry season, there's water. So what we do is we've got a system whereby there's a well point. We call it a well point. It's a sort of like a steel shaped like an arrow. It's 2 point, you know, and it's connected to a perforated PVC pipe, very short, 30 centimeters, whereby water goes through. It will be done by suction system, by the pipe. We do what we call siting and surveying, whereby we site tanks, garden tanks for them, a suitable site for their tank. And then from there, we site their trench for them. This is our garden tank. The water comes from the sump tank and is pushed by the Joma pump. And it's filled up here. Then communities they fill up their water tank, these cans, and they water their vegetables. So this system is quite good and sustainable. As you can see, the communities now have decided to extend their garden. That's actually their own extension. That's their idea. They've decided to extend their garden because they've seen that this system is actually quite sustainable and helping them in a lot of ways.
Training of communities and key stakeholders was the key to the program to ensure sustainability. This was also complemented by setting up village water committees who assisted in management of water points for agricultural purposes.
In the same program, we managed to train water point committees. We're saying each water point should have a committee that is in charge of the boreholes. So you'll find they have the administrators, they actually put some systems on how that borehole is going to be used or should be used, so that the breakdowns are minimized. The committee, the water point committee, also has a constitution that they are having, and they write minutes. They also meet whenever there are any problems with the borehole, mobilize the community so that they make a contribution. Because we are saying as Caritas, we can provide all the tools now, but as we moved out, they continued supporting these programs on their own.
Nutrition gardens were established at household and community level, were linked to water sources through establishment of irrigation schemes, sand abstraction technologies, and building of dams.
This project was funded under LPZ, but it was not completed. So Cafod had to look for additional funds so that it had to be completed. The story behind that dam, why we felt it was, why we had that interest was that the spring is a natural spring. The water is coming from a natural spring, and this spring is perennial. And down the stream, there are some gardens that the members of the community are using to produce vegetables, bananas, sugarcane, and other crops like maize. But the major challenge that this community had was that during the month of September, October, the discharge was very low, such that the gardens that were downstream were not receiving water. So it was felt that if at least they could get something that could be used to collect water overnight, then in the morning or during the day, the dam, the water would then be used to irrigate their gardens. That would serve them a purpose. So through the advice of architects, the community leaders approached CADEC for financial assistance.
Kupandulula ikalonga akakalonga gakhala gagenda kupela wonse takalika manzi aemvula luzutu so nitwakalangisisya twakadana kuti galai kutugwasya tulima magadeni paoni twakakhala mbuli bantu pawo twakazovamba kuti anichali kuti tulembere magwalo akukumbira lugwasi lembera omuno mupinga district muchisi chesu muli mangozi baberekera mugati.
There are some NGOs that work in Pinga district. There's Christian Care,
Save the Children,
and CADEC. We wrote proposals to all those stakeholders. The people who responded quickly, it's CADEC that responded. When they responded, we had various meetings with them. We went through the process. We showed them our problems, what we wanted to do. After that, when they made a response, they indicated that they were going to assist us with constructing a way. They indicated that they would actually help us in building a way that would actually store the water overnight. The water would be used to irrigate in the morning.
So, after
having made several meetings, they then cited the dam for us. The first thing was to construct an access road. This place was not accessible. No cars would come here. In the past, we used to meet at the school. But as a community, we were able to construct an access road. This made it possible for vehicles to come to the site, and then our meetings were now held here.
A total of 200 boreholes were rehabilitated and 400 community wells were upgraded through installation of 400 elephant pumps. The thrust was to improve community sources of water for drinking and productive use.
Through a partnership with the Pump Aid Zimbabwe, we identified some pumps that were very user-friendly, that were easy to pump. So what would happen at this juncture was the communities would identify the possible sites. Then we would send in a technical person to go and verify those sites. After verification was done, then these people, the communities would then dig at least 3 meters, because by then, within 3 meters, you don't need a trained person. But after 3 meters, we would then engage people who were qualified. So we would then engage them to dig up to about 20 meters. If water was found within that range, then we would bring in Pump Aid Zimbabwe to install an elephant pump.
Before that, pump masatawi and opanakatanga kupiwa fence nekuchererwa well ndobanda right well raso there are singwa ndobara sopera ndobavaka ndoku so yave the pump aid ndobawazo sko fitra pumps.
Problem yandakanga ndinayo ndeyekuti upenyu ndakanga ndine garden rangu pamugodhi ipapa asi ndakavakira neuswa. Saka ndavakira neuswa wakazoona kuti regerai tiwape waya, ndobva ndapiwa waya. Mvura iya yainge irimo mvura ndaishandisa gadheni rangu iro rine mvura yangu yemugodhi imomo. Saka ndokunzi mugodhi tinofanira kuisa windrush, makumba inoita wanga wakavakwa wakabuda kunze chete, wakaiswa sirabho. Saka ivo vakazondipa simendi newindrush necheni neridhi racho, ndokubva wandipa bhirida ndiwe home based care futi akandigadzirira.
The Catholic Agency for Overseas Development rehabilitated dams in Mutare, Matobo, and established irrigation schemes.
What is actually happening in that irrigation scheme is that people came together as a group. They formed a sort of an association for the irrigation, where they had to elect a chairperson, a secretary, and Caritas actually assisted us to come up with this constitution, a constitution that is meant to run that project. They have the constitution, if possible, they have to say it. A small irrigation where farmers actually come to a garden, they agree on how they want to work, and they have their own beds, and they do the selling and also making some contribution to the public or the community as a whole.
Tizoita miriwo takatanga isusu tichidiridzana nemagaba tichiteera chivunzi ichi, tikazosvika pakuti pasvikawo vamwe vakazotiona vavekateki vachiona kuti tiri kutambura mibheta mishomani, vanoti nekuti kudiridzana negaba ungakwanise mibheta yakawanda. Tikazoti na 2006 kukauya vekateki vakatipa simende kuti tite kanari, vatipa simende kuti tite kanari tijoinise padhamu iro riripo rechenyava neroro. Kuti taita izvozvo manje tapedza kanali, manje zvinhu zvakava zvakareruka, nekuti angati vakazotigira anonzi masaifoni, tasingazivewo anonzi masaifoni, nokuti tikavhurira mvura uko tojoinisa tiisa mubhedha, vakauya futi vakatipegera kuti masaifoni asevenza. Hanasi kusvika nhasi zvinhu zvacho zvakareruka, kana uchisvika unosvika uchidiridzira wongokativheta uchipoto uchiningirira.
Into engeza ngabuya lapha eChenyabane ukuthi ngangikhangelisane lokushota kusilela kwezicheko endaweni esikiwe esigabeni sethu lesi senhlibukana. So sasikhangelela lezikolo esilazo eduzana ukuthi ziyahluleka ukuthola izicheko ezinjengemibhida ebantwaneni besikolo. So imbhida lo uyasiphathisa kakhulu ekufundiseni abantwana bethu, silabantwana abazintandane abangalabazali. So kuyasiphathisa kakhulu ukuthi mazi ngabuya lapha silima umbhida, siyakwanisa ukuyathengisa imibhida leyana, sikwanisa ukuhambisa abantwana abazintandane ezikolweni. Njalo kuyasiphathisa futhi kakhulu ukuthi njengoba ukhanya indawo yakithi ayila zulu, akula kudla, so siyakwanisa ukuthi ukwanisa ukuthi ubuthengise lapha imbhida, uthatha imali uhambe uyethenga isikafu abantwana belale bedlile.
3,466 Blair ventilated improved pit latrine were constructed for selected households to improve sanitation coverage in targeted wards. The provision of latrines brought about accessibility and convenience, reduced incidences of diseases and illnesses, with improved community health and hygiene being the ultimate benefit.
We also promoted some household latrines. Basically in Pinga here, the sanitation coverage is very low. When we came in, I think it was at about 3% general for the entire district. And I think that was the lowest the country over. So because of that, we actually came in with the latrines. But what also made us to really focus very much on household latrines was the cholera outbreak that we had in one of the wards where we were operating. And this ward is Chunga. People died in numbers, and there were a lot of cases. And because of that, one of the contributing factors was that the sanitation coverage there was almost 3%. So as a matter of curbing this outbreak of cholera, we constructed about 350 latrines. And we also dug some wells in that particular ward. We did some PHHE, that is participatory health and hygiene education, and that helped. People were now aware on how to handle these health and hygiene issues.
Ndabana bali 7 itoilet yakandigwasya kutinda linonga keshupeka so lino mukushupeka
nibakazondibona kuti bantu balundu ndashupeka mkabu wakasika matoilet mulizi bakandifida aluzyalo anthu omwe kabali kubuzya abantu bekade mulizi nibakatulundira matoilet ndakalumba mulizi ndakapota eno nsichike penzi ndi ndakaleliyo lyakammana nkambo kuti ndekunonga keyo bomba mukati kalusa kako bugeza banini bobu kusindikizya so aongali apali mipenzi litatondezi munyika kuti ngalilibyeni zakuti bantu nibenda vere uli mukati kepenzi upea
winda kuti kera ogenda abana pera kupesya nsoni mwana mnini ko donsa kuti ko kuya ko chitazibi kwali none kwakapa right byanga mbuyo weliendera zwako oliye
imba yedu ndiyo iva yenzika amasvika mopindamu kana maitazo muneta mapepa munomawana arimo kana po munobuda mobuda motanga kugeza maoko enyu munogezera zvenyu panapa motora zvenyu kasepa kenyu kana muchida dota kana muchida sepa mogeza maoko enyu kuitira kuti mamabuda umwe musimakanganisa bepa raita dukwani mukagunzisa pamwe saka hatizodi kuti tisangane zvigwere zvetinenge tichitora saka tichiisira mvura yeipapa hamuzaruri namaoko nekuti mukabata namaoko maoko agara atora svinako mongotsika zvenyu negumbu.
Women were encouraged to lead water point committees and health and hygiene clubs so that they are empowered to take charge of issues such as access to water and management of available resources. Through the use of health and hygiene clubs, Cafod empowered communities to plan and coordinate water and sanitation activities in their areas. The Catholic Agency for Overseas Development trained water point committees, pump minders, and village health workers in collaboration with District Development Fund, rural district councils, and water and sanitation committees.
Some of the activities that we are actually doing that we did under water and sanitation was the rehabilitation of broken water points. What we did, we met with the DDF, whereby we would then provide them with parts. DDF would then go and repair. But we also trained village pump mechanics so that they could not be waiting for DDF to come and repair these water points. The communities themselves would then repair those water points.
VPM training standing for Village Pump Minders Training. This is whereby we capacitate the local communities with the skill of being able to rehabilitate their own boreholes. So the training is quite unique. It's quite different from the other trainings. Like, if you've seen other trainings, people sitting down, writing it to sort of like theory. But this one is hands-on. It's practical. They have to be there. The VPMs have to be there. The DTF guys have to be there. They'll be trained. It's by right should be a 21-day. So at times we do it for 7 days. We come back, we do a refresher course for another 7 days, up until these locals are fully skilled. They can do this thing on their own.
The impact of these trainings was determined by their ability to spearhead, plan, and carry out scheduled maintenance of their water sources.
Kwaba lehlelo oleCADEC lokutrain ama-pump minders sasi-16 bandithatha ngalungisa eminye imigodi emananda engu-7 emananda ngabuya lapha sengilungisa imigodi ekwana-16 khona lapha esigabeni sethu bekuncedisa empilweni yami ngoba bengingalamunye umsebenzi ebengiqakathekisa but ukuthola imali yokuthi nje ngincedise imuli yami baphinda basisaplaya ngewaya yokufensela umgodi wethu.
Infrastructure development undertaken in schools, both primary and secondary, were linked to block granting, a concept that the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development adopted under protracted relief program to ensure that certain number of children in different circumstances, especially young girls, accessed free education services. The number of children benefiting from each block of latrines was agreed upon by the partner and the school.
We have got a particular program which is called the Block Grant. This Block Grant program is where we discuss with the Ministry of Health, the School Development Committee, as well as the school authorities, to say we are targeting that every child within the world should be able to access education. But how do we do that? We don't want to do a program where we say how many children are disadvantaged here. They are 10, they are 15. Then we say we are paying the school fees. But we are saying it should be very participatory. By doing that, we then agreed that we will identify a project of need by the School Development Committee. And then the project, we are going to implement that project or we will fund that project. So we agree on the costs, we'll give you the cost of that project. Then we'll say how many children can benefit into this program. Whether the child is grade 0 or is grade 1 until grade 7, the child should be exempted from paying school fees until the child finishes the schooling.
We identify schools where there are a lot of these vulnerable orphaned children. One of the schools that we identified was Chikapa Primary School in Ward 10, where there were quite a number of these orphans and vulnerable children. We talked to the school authorities and the PTA, and they accepted our offer to assist the orphans and vulnerable children through a block grant for toilets.
Tiriwo chikoro chidoko zvacho asi mafacilities tanga tiri kushotawo zvokushandisa zvakaita se zvimbudzi. Tine chimbudzi changa chiripo changa chine 10 squad walls. Enrollment yese saka zvanga zvisinganyatsokwana kuvana vedu. Vana vedu enrollment tine 114 boys ne 116 girls kuita 230. Saka pakushandisa baba singanyatsoita ndokubva kwaitawo vakati tiriwo rombo rakanaka. Takava nekufara, vana vedu vakava nekufara zvokuti kufarawo kuti tiri kutarisira kuvabereki vakamba vambogara sonde yakapera kuti timboita kamhemberero mbijana kufarira project yedu.
Ninonzi Christopher Mash, nogara bhukure kwaSaruchera, nodzidza paTsvito Primary School. Ndanga ndiri nherera, ndanga ndisina mauniforms kana bhutsu dzekupfeka. Ndakazobatsirwawo neCaritas.
Ini ndinonzi Fabiola Koroni, ndinogara mubhukure kwaTsvito. Ini ndanga ndiri nherera, ndanga ndisina vabereki vose. Ndakakwanisa kubatsirwawo neCaritas. Ndakapiwa juice nebhutsu neinform.
The LPZ programs on HIV and AIDS have included care and support initiatives, mainly through the Home-Based Care HBC program.
Home-based care kuti izovapo yakatanga mushure mekunge zvaonekwa kuti vanhu vazhinji vakanga vachitambudzika mudzimba neurwere hwavaitadza kuburitsa pachena uye hwavaitadza kuti vafambire nyaya dzekuti varapwe. Noda kwekuti vanhu vaiita sekunyara uye nguva iyoyo yakatanga home-based care. Vanhu vakanga vakanyanyisa urwere mumamisha umu zvekuti vazhinji vakanga vakarara vaifa vaisvika pakufa nekuda kwekuti vainge vasingarapwi.
The program targeted HIV and AIDS prevention initiatives, mitigation, and the facilitation of HIV and AIDS-related information sharing and exchange processes through comprehensive home-based care activities, including provision of palliative care to the ill, psychosocial support, community volunteer caregivers, training, and the provision of food to targeted vulnerable HBC client households.
Sile 4 villages, njalo ngilama team leaders angu 4
nxa siyabe sisebenza lama-team leaders ami bona babe mina bengibhoda ngikhangela ukuthi bayenzile yini umsebenzi we-home based care, bahambele yini isigulane njalo izigulane zethu kanye ngeviki kumele mbone ukuthi bahambela izigulane ezikhona. U-team leader uyabe monitor ama-home based care ku-village yakhe. 2 okunye futhi esikwenzayo siyakhangela ukuthi izigulane lezi esilazo ziyahamba yini esibhedlela, ziyahamba yini ziyethatha igazi.
Ngijoyine i-home based caregiver lapha eBlingoma, ngijoyina ngaphansi kwe-Cadec. Bangifundisa, sifundela ekliniki yeMachingi. Safunda ukuphatha izigulane, ukubana ziphathwa njani. Safunda ukuthi nxa uzayamukelwa phakathi komuzi wesigulane kufanele uyenzeni, kufanele ungene njani. Yikho nxa safunda lokho ukubana singene emzini wesigulane.
Training and retraining of communities, line ministry staff, local authorities, and even community leadership was done so that they are consciously aware and responsive to HIV and AIDS in their own planning.
In terms of social protection under the HIV and AIDS, we have got a component of nutrition mainstreaming. That under the nutrition mainstreaming, we are saying exclusive breastfeeding. This component is where we are saying in order to have a healthy nation, we need to start talking about healthy issues right from the birth of a child. So we are saying in order for us to have a healthy nation, the child should be free from diseases. We have got a training being facilitated by Helen Keller Foundation through Cafod as well as Ministry of Health, where we had a provincial training of trainers. Then we had the ward-based trainers, training of trainers. This was facilitated by Cafod. We are now training the councillors, the village heads, as well as the care facilitators, so that they then diffuse this information to the whole of the people in the country, especially targeting the mothers, breastfeeding mothers, grandmothers, as well as grandfathers, because these people have got influence on the feeding of the child.
The program also provided health and HIV and AIDS education to people living with HIV and AIDS and other community members. The home-based care program provided material, psychological, and nutrition support for the sick and affected households. The program also linked clients to antiretroviral therapy ART programs in the districts, and in some instances provided transport to centers for CD4 cell counts and collection of ARVs.
We have got a child who is on art. This child, through our liaison with Ministry of Health, we identified children or even adults who are affected by HIV and AIDS. And we facilitated that we have an outreach program together with Ministry of Health to reach out to these communities where they cannot afford the bus fare to travel from long distances as more than 50 kilometers to come to the district hospital. So what we have done is Ministry of Health, the medical doctor at Nyanga Hospital, he goes down every month to access these clients.
Mwana uyu kukura kwake anga achingorwara kufa kwakaita ubereki wake anga achirwara, asi manzwa ndichitaura kudai kuti kudai ndakatutora kutudzikisa kwakaterera uko kudzinza ravo tungadai tusichiripo. Ini ndinotenda imi makatobatsira chaizvo. Ndaisazvigona waiperera mugrade 6 7 now ndinoiwo ndichasenza here uwo ndakasooreka kare. Hino ndakatenda chaizvo wane uniform and boots. Ndaisazvigona kuzvitenga izvo.
Seke Rural Home-Based Care, who are purely an AIDS service organization, continued with their HBC activities, which include psychosocial support to the sick clients and significant members of the family.
Inini ndinoshanda ndinozvipa nguva ndinoitika iri pasvondo ndofambira ma-bedridden patients. Vazhinji ma-mobile patients ezvinezvi munomu zvashoma tisina ma-bedridden akanyanya nenyaya yeruzivo. Tashandira pairi pasvondo tinozoenda ku-HBC tonopiwa makits ekuti vabatsire nekuti vamwe vacho vanenge vasingakwanisi kuzvibatsira. Makiti iwayo tozovapa vachivabatsirawo. Vanenge vakwanisa kuti vamuka pavari toita kuvaendesa ku-support group. Yesu zvitani support group yekuti tikurudzire kuti vakarara vai varege kuramba vakanyara. Nekuti stigma muno mungome zvainenge yangatiderere nekuti tiita ma-support group.
In conclusion, the Livelihoods program in Zimbabwe managed to surpass its target of 37,000 households by reaching at least 37,350 vulnerable and poor households during the 4 years of implementation. Cafod's partnership with its 5 implementing partners achieved a shared learning experiences for community capacity building through its main 3 key program components. The participatory ethos of the program also enhanced community participation in managing their own resources. To a greater extent, the Livelihoods program in Zimbabwe, LPZ, contributed well to the overall goal.
Takafanira utsanana